So some of you may have seen, my son was born a day after I received this reel, which means I didn't have a whole lot of time to play with it. But I did get a chance to actually play with my usual creek tray, which is 1/16 to a quarter. And I decided to start with the 1/16, which is a Usuri snap bean. Truthfully, I don't know if the shape of this lure is influencing this at all, or if it's just not a good reel for 1/16, but you can tell I'm throwing hard left. I'm not trying to throw hard left, but pretty much everything goes hard left. And that could mean longer rod might help. You know, maybe just lower brake setting. I don't know. But it's just not working too well for me. I think it's too finicky at this point. And I want you to see something very important at this point, because it will come into play later. And that is on this final cast in this series. You can see I'm still casting hard left. It's not going where I want. Burning it in, and boom.
Oh shit. There's a fish in there.
I missed it, but it looks like a pretty decent sized fish. The problem with this particular fish comes into play a little bit later in this video, but we'll save that to later. At this point, I just want to make one thing perfectly clear. This reel does not like 1/16 much at all. And I'm getting snagged on a bunch of grass, which I'm not used to this particular spot. I don't know where all the grass is, and I'm clearly finding it. So anyway, next up we're going to move on to the 1/4, which is the heaviest lure that I currently have inside this tray. So at this point I switch up to the heaviest that I typically throw in a creek, and that is a 1/4 ounce. This is a Usuri 3DS minnow, I believe. It's a slow sinking, it's a very slow sinking, closer to suspending type bait, and yeah, it does great at this point. I have absolutely no trouble casting straight, or straight as I can typically cast, and distance isn't really an issue, other than the fact that I'm throwing it on a 5-foot rod, and that's obviously not great for distance. But yeah, I'm no complaints at a 1/4 ounce. It is a calm day, no wind, no, pretty much perfect fishing weather at this point, but that water's cold. That water is very cold. So yeah, at this point, no complaints. I think it's doing great. And next up, we are going to give it the old wind test. Alright, so at this point, I'm throwing a jackhammer baby jack, which is a 1/4 ounce jackhammer, directly into the wind. I am literally trying to make this backlash, and it's just working like a dream at this point. The baby jack is a 1/4 ounce with a sort of a fluke style trailer. I don't know what that adds to it, probably just a little bit, but I would say it's just a little over a 1/4 of an ounce right now. And that blade is catching wind. That blade, that skirt, everything, it's catching wind, and it is literally, if you watch the cast, it's blowing that off to my right side every time I cast. Even like on the straight cast, you can see it kind of go out and then turn a little bit in midair. So this would be a nightmare on BFS or literally any other casting reel that's not DC, but the DC braking is handling it amazingly well at this point. Now, when I actually go to cast to the right, you can see the wind is picking up even more.
This wind is ridiculous.
You can actually see when I cast off to the right here in just a moment how much that wind is taking that bait and just pushing it to the side. So for this sort of scenario, I would never use a casting reel, and this reel is doing amazingly well at it. So for windy days, 100% I'm grabbing this reel. It's even better than the Aldebaran DC that I have, and I used to use that a fair bit on windy days. But yeah, no complaints at all. It is casting like a dream. I love it for this sort of scenario.
I don't know where that fish was the other day, but
And enjoy the subtle foreshadowing in the background here, because we meet the fish again in just a moment.
I'd like to have it back.
Alright, so at this point I come back on a much more calm day and decide to try to throw a 3/32. For the most part, I'm just going to let this play out because this is kind of sad and hurts my soul. But yeah, we're trying a crick hopper at this point, and
You're still too late.
still casting a little bit to the left, which not great, but I kind of expected it. I thought the crick hopper is still going to be a little too late. And then this happens. Ooh. Oh. No, don't swim away. Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Come here. I don't know why. Oh, shit. Well, that went well. You were a big ass fish. Well, that went real well. So yeah, that was a $250 rod snapping, but it's a 5-piece. It's just the tip, so I think I'll probably get away with about $40 for a new tip, and I should be good to go. They've already said they'll replace it for me, so just got to work with them and get it. It's a JDM rod, so I'm gonna have to work with probably Bait Finesse Empire to get it shipped in without having to pay any ridiculous import fees or anything. So yeah, that's how that went. Pretty sure this reel might be cursed, but I like it so far. I like it. I think what you don't actually see is I did cast a half ounce on a medium heavy half ounce spinnerbait. It casted amazing. quarter ounce, casted amazing. Uh, can go down to about an eighth, still be pretty good. I think you might be able to nudge it just a little bit more in that direction, maybe a tenth before you start really experiencing any major issues with backlashing and just inconsistent braking. 1/16th and 3/32 it did not like. Obviously 3/32 worked perfectly fine as far as catching a fish, but not really casting. So yeah, I think this is a very good creek reel. I think that if you want to use it for like an eighth to a half, it's an amazing reel for that, and for that reason it's replacing my Corrado DC almost entirely. Probably still use the Corrado for heavier stuff, but the ability to cast down to BFS and a little bit into it and cast all the way up to, say, a half, I think personally it is a great reel for that. I think it's an amazing creek reel. I am going to have to get a new rod for it, but yeah, I have no complaints at all whatsoever. I love the reel. I think it's a great reel to purchase if you need a good finesse reel. I think for weightless soft plastics, for smaller crankbaits and jerkbaits, it is perfect. So if you're on the fence about it, I think you should definitely check it out. If you don't really like going into that finesse range, I think there's probably better reels out there for you. I am probably going to replace the braid that's on it with fluoro and try it again, because I think for me I'm going to use it on a medium light rod most likely. I may use it on a light. Most likely going to keep it within that 1/8 to quarter range. So I think it is definitely going to be in the rotation a lot more than the Corrado DC for sure. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to replace a spinning reel or a bait finesse reel by any means. I just think it's going to complement them both very well. So yeah, if you like the content here, please feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below of what you'd like to see me do next. I think the next video is probably going to be a rod building video though, because your boy needs a new rod, because I do not have a bait finesse rod at this point. Got out of commission for a bit, so that's probably the next video. Need to get that built and actually get back on the water. So yeah, see you in the next one.